Theories of interpersonal relationships. Psychologists have suggested that all humans have a motivational drive to form and maintain caring interpersonal relationships. They view that in interpersonal relationship, two participants are independent, where the behavior of each affects the outcomes of the other. The two people between the interpersonal relationship must have a stable and satisfying interaction, and if either of these ingredients is missing, people will begin to feel anxious, lonely, depressed, and unhappy. The first theory is attachment theory. Relationships can be viewed in terms of attachment style that develop during early childhood. It is a comprehensive theory of development like social and emotional motivations, personality, and psychopathology. It deals with the intimacy in relationship and role of attachment across one's lifespan. Example of this is attachment is pareha ka na ikaw na attached na ka to the other person is because na-satisfy niya imong need for comfort and safety from dangers. Attachment patterns is characterized by an evaluation of self and others. Individuals develop their own style of interacting with their significant one. There are two levels of attachment. First is adult to adult attachment. Example of this is peer and romantic relationship. Second is infant attachment between an infant and a mother. Jointness, which is belong to attachment theory, represents an encounter between mother and an infant or any partners experiencing simultaneously mutual intimacy while concomitantly safeguarding separateness. It explains the infant attachment, where the infant seeking comfort tries to gain the attention of the attachment figure through crying, pleading, and crawling to this attachment figure. The attachment figure is the mother or any member of the family that infant treats him or her as safe. How? Social exchange theory interprets relationship in terms of exchange benefits. In social exchange theory, both people in the relationship will be benefited, but it assumes freedom of choice and situation that requires decision making. Gitawag ni siya og cost or benefit analysis. They maximize the reward and minimize the cost. Dapat mas dako ilang makuha nga benefit sa relationship kaysa sa ilang gihatag to the other person. Then, equity theory belongs to social exchange theory, which stems from a criticism of social exchange theory, suggests that people care about more than just maximizing rewards. So, which opposites the idea in the social exchange theory. In equity theory, all they want is fairness and equity in relationship that both individual receive. Relationship Relational dialectics. Regarding relationships not as static entities but as continuing process forever changing, so it is a communication theory. It reminds us that relationships are constantly changing and that successful and satisfying relationship requires constant attention. It is constantly changing because of these three main issues. First is autonomy versus connection. Second, novelty versus predictability. Openness versus closeness. So these three main issues explains autonomy versus connection, where autonomy, the need to be your own person and need to do things independently, while the connection, the need to be those to other and desire to link actions and decisions, which is opposite kay silang duha. Second is novelty versus predictability. Novelty concerns doing something new, while predictability concerns doing something in a familiar or routine way. Ang novelty is kailangan siya magbuhat og mga bag-o, trying something new, while ang predictability kayon sayang na routine na niya nga himuon mo na jud na yang himuon. While the third one issue is openness versus closeness. Openness means freely sharing information, while closeness means keeping information private. Through these main issues, developing quality relationships requires understanding, balancing, and being aware of of our partner's needs. Thank you.
Hi everyone, good day. I am Stories Giselle, the third reporter of Group 2. My topic is about development. First, let me define development. Development, it is a process of starting to suffer or experience from a feelings, and also a process that creates growth, progress, and a positive change of a person. In development, interpersonal relationships are dynamic systems that change continuously during the existence of a person. Of course, when we are growing up, there will be a changes not only physically, mentally, but also emotionally. Like living organisms, relationships have a beginning, a lifespan, and an end. Everyone tends to grow and improve gradually as people get to know each other and become closer emotionally, or they gradually deteriorate as people drift apart and form new relationships with others. One of the most influential models of relationships development was proposed by psychologist George Levenger. This model was formulated to describe heterosexual, meaning sexually attracted with a person in the opposite sex. Adult romantic relationships like boyfriend, girlfriend, and getting married. It's also applied to other kids. Some parents want to be practical to their children. That's why they want their child to be mindful enough when it comes into interpersonal relation. According to the famous psychologist George Levenger, there are 5 stages of the nature development relationship. First one is acquaintance. Becoming acquainted depends on previous relationships, physical proximity, first impressions, and a variety of other factors. Acquaintance refers to knowing each other. This is the stage of having a chance to be close to a person and a gut feeling of what kind of person he or she is. If two people begin to like each other, continued interactions may lead to the second stage, which is build up. During this stage, people begin to trust and care about each other. Build up refers to the stage where relationship actually grows, meaning both of you having mutual understanding and you are now comfortable to each other. It's easy for you to open up, telling your secrets or everything you're in mind. And the end and the need for accountability and such filtering agents as common background and goals will influence to be in stage 3, which is continuation. This stage follows a mutual commitment to a long-term friendship, romantic relationship, or marriage. Mutual trust is important for sustaining the relationship. Continuation refers to the stage where relationship blossoms into lasting commitments. It's the decision of treating the person more special, like be a best friend or might be a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and also of being together. Both of you decide to settle down or to get married. Trusting and being loyal to each other is the most important thing in this stage. It is generally a long, relatively stable period. Nevertheless, continued growth and development will occur during this time. You will discover the true attitude of your partner, especially to those people who decide to be together. The fourth stage is deterioration. Not all relationships deteriorate, but those that do tend to show signs of trouble, like boredom, resentment, and dissatisfaction may occur, and individuals may communicate less and avoid self-disclosure. Deterioration, this is the stage where not all relationship pass, A lots of challenges will be experienced, issues that make the relationship toxic because of fightings and misunderstandings. That's why some in a relationship find another man or a woman that can fulfill the emptiness they feel that their partner cannot give because of being busy. Loss of trust and betrayals will lead to the last stage, which is termination. The final stage marks the end of the relationship, either by death in the case of healthy relationship or by separation. Termination, this is the stage refers to end the relationship. Good for those people who manage and find way to solve their problems, and it makes the relationship stronger. That only death will be the way of their separation. But for those people who decide to let go than to hold on or to stay, they think that they are not in a right person, and being apart to each other is their kind of termination. That's the end of my topic. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is Cherry Angabato from Group 2. And for this time, I'll be discussing with regards friendships and conflict management. Friendships. This may involve some degree of transitivity. In other words, a person may become a friend of an existing friend's friend. However, if two people have a sexual relationship with the same person, they may become competitors rather than friends. Accordingly, sexual behavior with a sexual partner of a friend may damage the friendship. Sexual relations between two friends tend to alter that relationship, either by taking it to the next level or by severing it. Sexual partners may also be classified as friends, and the sexual relationship may either enhance or depreciate the friendship. Legal sanction reinforces the regularizes marriages and civil unions as perceived respectable building blocks of society. Second is conflict management. Conflict management refers to the long term management of intractable conflicts. It is the label for the variety of ways by which people handle grievances, standing up for what they consider to be right and against what they consider to be wrong. Those ways include such diverse phenomena as gossip, ridicule, lynching or execution, terrorism, warfare, feuding, genocide, law, mediation, and avoidance. Which forms of conflict management will be used in any given situation can be somewhat predicted and explained by the social structure or social geometry of the case. Conflict management is often considered to be distinct from conflict resolution. In order for actual conflict to occur, there should be an expression of exclusive patterns and tell why the conflict was expressed that way it was. Conflict is not just about simple inaptness, but is often connected to a previous issue. The latter refers to the resolving the dispute to the approval of one or both parties, whereas the former concerns an ongoing process that may never have a resolution.
Hello, I am Jomari Duarte, the last reporter of Group 2. So my topic will be counseling. Counseling may prove to be helpful antidote. When a person conflicts leads to frustration and loss of efficiency, counseling may prove to be a helpful antidote. Although few organizations can afford the luxury of having professional counselor on the staff, this is so-called psychiatrist. There's some organization having a psychiatrist, and then but there are some companies cannot afford to have a psychiatrist. So that's why non-directive counseling exists. So non-directive counseling is a little more than being good listener, something every manager should be. So this one in non-directive counseling, it is more listening when understanding. It is more being good listener, just like in the definition, no? Sometimes the simple process of being able to vent one's feelings, that is to express them to a concerned and understanding listeners, no? It is enough to relieve frustration and make it possible for the frustrated individual to advance a problem solving frame in their minds. No, by that, no, when they share, like you are just listening, for example, you're just listening to your um friends, now that your when that friends you of yours is having a conflict or a trouble, no, even you are just listening to her, or and understanding what trouble him, she or me encountered, no, in that way you may you can, what do we call this, you can help her, or in that way you can help her to cope up the problem, so to cope up the problem and frame a good solution to her problem or his problem. So no next is the next is we have the non-directive approach. Non-directive approach, it is the one effectively for the manager to deal with frustrated subordinates or coworkers. There are other more direct and more diagnostic ways that may be used appropriate circumstances, no? No, if we use if we consult in a psychiatrist, but the great strength of the non-directive approach is lies on its simplicity, its effectiveness, and the fact that it's deliberately avoid that the manager, counselor diagnosing, interpreting emotional problems, no? Just remember this, guys, no, that no one has ever been harmed by being listened to sympathetically and understandingly. No, on contrary, this approach has helped many people to cope up with problems that were interfering with their effectiveness on the job. No, then next is the emotional competencies are not innate talents, but rather learned capabilities that must be worked on and can develop to achieve outstanding performance. Oh, according to Goldman's Pusits, that individual are born with general emotion intelligence that determine their potential for learning emotional competencies. So that's all. That's all my report. Thank you.